Hey there, friends and foes. Good morning, multiverse. This is Back of the Cereal Box presents Back Issue Breakfast Club. I am your host, the prophet of pop culture, John Pyka. You can call me Johnny. And this week, we are reviewing a true back issue, the collected trade paperback graphic novel, Star Wars Dark Empire. And we are going to do that right after this.
Saturday morning, it's fun for all. Cartoons and cereal, let's have a ball. Comic books, kaiju, pro wrestling too. The fun is waiting for you. Back of the cereal box.
So, for those of you who've been watching the show for a while, you know that Star Wars movies, Avengers comic books, and Saturday morning cartoons made me who I am today. And I love Star Wars. Star Wars is oxygen. Well, there was a time when we didn't have Star Wars. Fans call it the dark times. There were no movies. There was a novel series from Timothy Zahn that had just come out. But alongside those novels came a comic book series from Dark Horse Comics, set 6 years after the Battle of Endor, about the Emperor returning. I'll tell you, everything that fans are confused about with the movies today and some of the ancillary stuff can all be answered by Dark Empire. Now, unfortunately, Lucasfilm made this non-canon, but they've borrowed a lot of the ideas told in this story for especially the sequel movies. You know that line that Poe Dameron says, somehow the Emperor returned. It's this, and it's the Thrawn trilogy books. So this came out in individual issues, and this is a collected trade paperback edition. I want to say it was 5 issues, Dark Empire. I could be wrong. This came out as individual issues written by Tom Veitch and artwork by Cam Kennedy. Now, Tom Veitch took a lot of liberties with the Star Wars lore, but that's okay. He introduced us to a bunch of brand new concepts, brand new worlds. But Tom Veitch's art, while at the time I didn't think it was very Star Wars-y, over time it's really grown on me. And he had this stylized artwork that was very, I call back to Carmine Infantino quite a bit, but there was a lot of Carmine Infantinoisms, but with a much, I don't want to say jagged edge, but it was edgier. It wasn't as slick and smooth as Infantino's, and it wasn't as smooth and as rounded as the Macquarie artwork or even the Marvel Comics series. I don't want to give this away, but if you've not read it and you're a Star Wars fan, get it. Because this is an essential for every Star Wars fan's library. Basically, we find out the Emperor has returned 6 years later because he's been using cloning technology, and he's back. See, in Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command, that hadn't happened yet. So this takes place after the Thrawn trilogy, and the Emperor is solidly back. Unfortunately, he succeeds in his initial mission to turn Luke Skywalker to the dark side. Luke falls to the dark side in this story and turns against Leia, Han, Chewbacca, the Republic, everything that he stood for. And in a lot of ways, what happens to Luke in this mirrors what Rian Johnson portrayed in The Last Jedi. In some ways, you could say this character study of Luke informs The Last Jedi's character study of Luke. Anyway, he is pulled back from the dark side. I'm not going to spoil by who, but there's some fans that complained about her portrayal in The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, and we saw the seeds of it in the Thrawn trilogy from Timothy Zahn. We see the fulfillment of it in Dark Empire. That's all I'm going to say. You need to grab this and read it for yourself. This is a phenomenal book. And I've read it maybe 5 or 6 times over. It's really that good. And you can pick this up from instocktrades.com. You can probably get it on Amazon, but instocktrades.com is a service that I use. And you can find graphic novels at huge discounts. This came out in 1995. So at the height of the dark times, in the middle of the dark times, we got Dark Empire. So there are a lot of you who have never even heard of this. You've never read it, but it's available. You should get it, add it to your library, and take a deep dive. I promise you, you're going to love this if you love Star Wars. Anyway, that's it for me this week. Really easy review for me to do because I love this book. And if you love what we do here on Back of the Cereal Box, consider becoming a patron on Patreon. Patreon.com/cerealboxpodcast. We do early releases, exclusive releases. We do giveaways. And for our VIPs, they get to share the screen with us and do their own show. So all kinds of cool perks to becoming a patron. But more importantly, you help us out and you help our show. And that's the most important thing. So anyway, that's my review of Dark Empire. Until the next time, love you, mean it. We'll catch ya on the back of the cereal box. Ta-da!
It's like Coca-Cola, Levi Strauss, Johnny Carson and Mickey Mouse. The first star was James Dean. Elvis Presley, yeah, he's still the king. Some things are only imitatable. You can't beat an original.